I want to share with you how I airbrush this Robocop painting. I also use a lot of acrylic painting, so it's also a how to do an acrylic painting. I like those 80s movies, so it's been a while and I really wanted to paint this Robocop painting, so finally got a chance to do that. So this thing has a lot of lines and technical details and so much stuff, so I always like to use an HD stencil for laying it out. A lot of you guys that are into airbrushing are familiar with the HD stencils, and a lot of you use them, but whoever is new to HD stencils, these things are just basically photorealistic stencils that you spray with an airbrush and they transfer the image, whatever design. And like I've always said, the best thing about HD stencils is that you can also get your own pictures made into a custom HD stencil. That just gives so much freedom. It's a tool that you can rely on regardless of what project it is. Let's get started. So after I sprayed the stencil, for me it's all about deciding which way I'm gonna go for painting this, and for that I mean what type of method of painting I'm going to use. Am I gonna use a subtractive method like scratching paint? And for this painting I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do acrylic painting as well as airbrushing. So I wanted to use acrylic painting, so I was not gonna do any scratching, so I use a wood panel for painting this. Something about doing acrylic and airbrushing together is that it's going to require you to use the right airbrush paint. For example, if you're familiar with the paints illustration colors from Createx, so you might be familiar that with those paints you can remove them easily. You can create really nice erasing techniques, and you can also re-wet the paints. That even if they're dry, you can spray water over them and you can continue erasing them because it'll basically break it apart. So if you decide to work with acrylics on top of airbrush, you definitely don't want to use those paints because they are re-wettable. So if you come with a loaded brush and you start doing a second layer over the top of those paints, you're gonna end up lifting it up. So it's important to use an airbrush paint that is not going to reactivate. If you do paintings that have a lot of details that take a long time, one thing that I've always done is I like to stay focused on one part of the painting first. Here, for example, you notice how I got stuck just doing the head first, the helmet first, and then I jumped into the chest and then into the arm. But if you notice, I didn't try to do all of it at the same time. I started doing the chest and then I realized this part is the most difficult, so it's one of the most difficult parts. So I'm like, okay, I'll just leave this for later. I'm gonna get it to a point that I can continue later on, but I'm not gonna finish 100% compared to the helmet where I decided to almost do 100%. But that's the point. Staying focused on one area of the painting allows you to gain momentum, and it also makes you feel that you're achieving more in the painting. So that's one of the things I always like to do in my paintings, just finish one thing before moving to the next one. Whenever I show this painting or my clients see it or somebody has a question, usually people ask me how long this painting took me. I created this painting in just about 10 hours. So not bad for a painting of this much detail, but you know, a lot of the credit is for the HD stencil because it makes it easier to see where I need to paint. So it's a map. But yeah, you know, so that's one myth that people think, that paintings take so long. And I mean, if you compare 10 hours to 15 minutes, some people want to create. I was one of those people. In the beginning, I was always finding ways, how can I make a painting really fast? And then my mindset changed and I'm like, how can I make a painting realistic? How can I make the painting look really good? Instead of thinking how I can make it really fast. And something about speed is that speed comes later. Once you know how to work, once you know the fundamentals of painting, for painting realism, there are fundamentals. That's what I teach in my lessons at paintrealism.com if you're interested in taking my classes. Like I was saying, speed comes later. First, if you focus on understanding what makes the painting, then later on you can speed up those parts of the painting. And basically by learning how to control your colors, by learning where you can take shortcuts, all that sort of thing speeds up your work. And also by learning not to mess up your painting. If you're working in circles, for example, if you paint something and then you have to go back and repaint it again, then that's when you waste time, and in reality, a painting, sometimes people brag about a painting taking 100 hours, and it's not that the painting takes 100 hours, it's just that it could take you 100 hours because you're making too many mistakes, and you're not being efficient with those 100 hours. But you know, I was there as well. We all go through that phase where we're learning, and it will take us longer, and it's better to create a painting even if it took me 100 hours. As long as I made it, then it's still good, you know. So I want to encourage you to learn as much as you can, so that eventually painting becomes a little easier for you. You know, the whole point is to enjoy the process, to enjoy the painting. So if you want to learn how to paint realism with the airbrush and with acrylics, I would like to give you a free lesson. And to get it, you can go to paintrealism.com, or you can click on the link below this video or in the comments. I'm gonna leave a link there, and you can check it out. It's 100% free. You can give it a try, and it's in full color. So if you're new to this could be your first realistic painting. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.